So basic Hwoarang guide. I've held off on making this for quite a while. If you look at the rest of my channel, a bunch of Hwoarang resources available to you. A lot of stuff get covered. DF1 versus DF1 plus 2, 4-3 versus 4F4. How to deal with AOP is one of the early ones I made. So yes, but we're finally putting them all together. No, not necessarily, we're not. But there's going to be 3 levels to this. So again, feel free to subscribe for it. That is the basic Hwoarang guide, which is what's happening now. Intermediate Hwoarang guide next week, after this one gets released, right? And it gets posted. And then advanced Hwoarang guide. So 3 perspectives on how to learn Hwoarang. So there'll be certain objectives or certain stuff I kind of expect you to know by the time you get to these videos, or if you decided to click on one of these videos, right? And I'm going to start. So what is Hwoarang? This is a basic Hwoarang guide, so you're not expected to know anything. You don't know this character, even if you've played Tekken, even if you have experience with Tekken. For as long as you've never played or picked up the character, even if you fought against him, do not know. I don't expect you to know anything, not at all, really. So this character is a stance character. So by a stance means he has other stances that give him extra moves, and in Hwoarang's case, he has 4. Of course, you can include all the back turn ones, but those are typically not as practical. You're going to be focusing more on RFF, LFS, and RFS. So for those who don't know, in shortcut terms, I'll be using that more often as the videos goes on, and in the intermediate and advanced. But again, it's on the screen, the legend for it. So again, LFF is left foot forward, the default stance you're always in. RFF is entered via 3+4 from LFF, which is right foot forward. Forward 3 allows you to go to left flamingo stance from LFF. And right forward neutral 4 puts you in RFS, which is right flamingo stance from LFF. Okay, with that out of the way, this character again is a stance character. That means he has mix-ups. So as you can see, I'm gonna move from 4. I'll move from LFF all the way to RFF, and you'll see how. So I'm gonna do from LFF down 3-4, RFS 2-4 into RFS 1. You got that? Down 3-4, RFS 2-4 forward, RFS 1. So what did I enter there? I went from LFF to RFS into RFS again into RFF. So I missed out LFS, right? So we'll include LFS. So down 3-4, RFF 2-4, stance switch, LFS 3 forward into LFS 2. So these are the type of flows you need to understand. That's super important. And all the strings and all the stuff you're going to be doing in pressuring and doing offense as Hwoarang, even if it's basic and very simple, like let's say 3-4 into RFS DF4, you have to know how did you get from point A to point B. Super important. So that's more or less the gist and what you should expect when you start playing Hwoarang. Did I end up from this stance, or did I go to this stance? Did I transition to this stance? Can I block in this stance? Because again, you can only block in left foot forward, which is the stance you're seeing now, and the right foot forward. You cannot block in left flamingo, and you cannot block in right flamingo. Not at all. So now you know what to expect. You have a general idea. The next thing you need to do is learn all of this. That's right. If every character in the game has a long move list, a stance character is going to have a longer move list. And in Hwoarang's case, he has 146 moves. This is not counting the moves that are not in the command list. However, do you need to know those moves? At the moment, as a basic level, you don't need to know those moves. Not at the moment. So 146 moves you need to learn. You need to get these down so that you know how to get from point A to point B. Without that, you can't really play the character. Stance characters really need their books in order to be able to do their stuff. So I'm not going to cover all the moves, right? So again, if you want to see everything about Hwoarang, I wrote a Hwoarang guide all the way back in Season 2. Again, that's going to be linked in the description. Feel free to check it out after the video. So we're going to go on key moves now. So as Hwoarang, at a basic level, one of your lifesavers, or one of the ways you start out offense immediately into entering Flamingo, is to do 1-2-3 or 1-2-4. So again, if you press 1, 2, the jab string, and then you include the 3, that means you're entering left flamingo. And if you're, again, pressing 4, you're going to be entering right flamingo. At this level, it doesn't matter which one you do. Just make sure you press a 1 or a 2 afterwards. That again, respectively for 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 1 is going to be your best option, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 2 is going to be your best option. We're going to keep it really, really simple. It's super, super important. The other one is down 3, 4 into RFS DF4. Make that default, your default the whole entire time. You can include the RFS 2 as well. You can mix and match them. The other would be 3, 3, 4, right? Or 3, 3 forward. Down back 3, super important. This is going to be your only high crushing low that has, serves really good use compared to down 4. This is again -6 from hit. You'd rather use something that's, you can press a button, because I know you're going to want to press buttons as Hwoarang, since you've seen a lot of Hwoarangs just pressing buttons non-stop. And of course, DF2. This is your main launcher, your safe mid launcher. And back 3. Do not go ham with this, please, because this is -19 on block. You cannot press a button. Let's put it that way, in simpler terms. And you're going to get hit. You're going to get punished. Guaranteed. So those are more or less your key moves at this level. So you get used to all those moves. And yes. So we keep it very, very simple. Again, punishment. Let's move to punishment. Your punishment, Hwoarang punishment, I'll list the entire punishment here. Again, another chart available, link in the description below to see it. And it's also covered in the Hwoarang guide, but at 10 frames, your main punisher is going to be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, or a 1, 2, 4. And of course, if you get it on hit, if you get these moves on hit as a punish, that means LFS 1 and RFS 2 are more or less uninterruptible. And of course, you include RFS DF4 there in between, and you're going to get a free counter hit launch, provided they press a button. If not, you're still +1. You can do the jab string again if you want to, right? If something's 11 frames, 4-3 is your best friend. If it's 13 frames and 4-3 and the jabs don't reach, DF1 +2 is your next best friend. And if that doesn't reach and it's -14, a 4-3 +4. And if it's 15, DF2. And if it's 16 and DF2 for some reason doesn't reach, right? Up back 3-3. And this is all in standing. And of course, if it's 16 as well, back 3. This one will reach more often than up back 3-3. This is more reliable, provided something is launch punishable. So if it's not 15 sakto, that means 15 on the dot, you just do back 3. Of course, for while standing punishment, at 10 frames, down jab. 11 frames while standing 4-4. Don't worry, the tsunami kick is safe at -5. Yep. And if you just do while standing 4 by itself, you're still safe, -3. At 14 frames, he does not have a 13 frame while standing punisher, so it's 14. That's while standing 3 into FF3 or while standing 3 into back 3. Basically, press a button afterwards, even if it's down back 4, to get a free follow-up damage after it. But again, recommended back 3 or FF3. And if something's 15, well, you still do while standing 3, because while standing 2 does not launch. Even if it has the same animation and same look as DF2, you will not be using this button at this level. No. This one. Oh. And the moment it hits -16, it's launch punishable. That's when you do up back 3-3. That's going to be your main launch punishing low. So if something staggers, like let's say a hell sweep, then you're going to be pressing up back 3-3. And of course, once you can crouch cancel, again, if you have some experience in Tekken, you will do crouch cancel back 3. If it's -18, 17, something like that, right? So that covers punishment. So we'll do some basic combos. Most of Hwoarang's combo structure is very similar to each other. Like most of his launchers have the same flow. So again, stuff like that would be like DF2 has the same combo structure as back 3. And let's say, well, I'm going to include another move here. LFS of 4-4 is also the same. And including RFS back 3. Like all the combo routes are more or less the same. The only time it becomes a little bit different is when you do something, let's say forward 1+2. That's a little bit more different. Just slightly different. You just have to omit one thing. And then RFS DF4 would also be different. And counter hit LFS forward 3. So yeah, I'll cover 3 basic combos that cover most of Hwoarang's launchers. So again, for the DF2, the back 3s and whatnot, you're mainly going to be pressing F4 back 4 into FF4 and 3-4 back 4. I know I dropped it there, but yeah, so it's back 3, right flamingo, RFF, right flamingo again. That mainly you're going to be noticing right flamingo enters a lot in these combos. Of course, left flamingo is also super useful. So that covers the back 3, the DF2s, right? The second basic combo you're going to need to know is for the axe kick, RFS DF4. You just press down back 4-4 into FF4, 3-4 back 4. Again, just so that it doesn't drop. Just for good measure. And voila. And then for the last one, which is again LFS forward 3, all you got to do is press 3 forward into down 3-4. Or if that's a little bit too difficult, 1 into down back 4-4. And then same thing. Same cheese. You just have to whiff an LFS1 first before you get to, you know, combo the opponent. That covers basic combos. Let's do basic strats now. So these are like basic frame traps or basic things you can do as Hwoarang. So again, I was talking about 1-2-3 and 1-2-4-2. This is going to be one of your main things you're going to be running on as Hwoarang. So again, this is +5 on block. So what you want to do if you're doing 1-2-3 into LFS1 is to do forward 1+2. Why forward 1+2? Because again, if the opponent presses a button after they've blocked the move, again, LFS1, we'll put on counter hit here just to demonstrate. If they press, as so. Don't worry, right flamingo has its own version. Like that. So these are the basic strats. So mainly if you're going to be pressing LFS1, you're going to be going straight to forward 1+2. And if you get RFS2, you'll mainly be pressing RFF DF4. Whether that be RFF DF4 into RFS4, even if that's -14, or RFF DF4 into RFS2 again. So that's like really, really basic strat. And yeah, of course, if you get down 3-4, right? If you get down 3-4, always going to be pressing RFS DF4. Because again, if you get RFS DF4 and they're pressing a button while you've pressed down 3-4, again, it's going to be a big counter hit launch. And of course, you can mix that. So again, we're going to talk about from point A to point B. Again, the flow is super important with Hwoarang, the flamingo flow. So let's say you already know these 3 basic strats, right? So if I'm in if I go from left flamingo to left foot forward from an LFS1, I can do forward 1+2. And if I enter left foot forward to right flamingo stance into RFF, I can do RFF DF4 back 2, right? And of course, if I'm in right flamingo and I did something on hit, I could get RFF DF4 on counter hit. So we'll show the flow here. So we start with, let's say, we start off from down 3-4. And he's guarding, so down 3-4. You see that? I just linked 2 strats together. That's the RFS DF4 on block, because it didn't go on hit again, it didn't counter hit. So I pressed 1-2-3, 1 into forward 1+2. Another way, so that's one way of combining the strats. Another one is, let's say, again, same thing, except this time you swap it. So instead of doing you enter left flamingo after RFS DF4, you enter right flamingo instead of after RFS DF4. And of course, let's not forget 3-3-4, as I mentioned it. You could use it as a starter immediately, and then that'll follow the same flow. And then you can also do it again. Like you see, you start to mix and match these together for as long as you're covered with the frames and you have like the frame data overlay. If not, you could always enter a Discord, or you open up, you Google frame data, you go to like RB Norway or whatever, and you'll have the frames there available to you. So those are some basic strats. So again, round up, this is a mix-up intensive character who requires you to have studied and passed the Hwoarang class of 146 moves and knowing which move goes into what. Of course, again, simplicity is the key here. That's why I didn't give you a lot of strats. Very, very simple strats, basic flow, basic moves, and of course the full punishment and basic combos. You need to break in and get more comfortable with Hwoarang first in order to start doing all this crazy stuff. Well, it's not even crazy stuff, but it looks crazy at the moment. Like when you still don't know who Hwoarang is yet and how he operates fully. So again, after this, getting to the basic Hwoarang, right? Basic cheese, you'll move on to intermediate, and after intermediate to advanced. And of course, all the other videos again on this channel serve that purpose. So again, even after this, you can look at the other stuff here to get a better idea of how certain stuff operate. And never forget to stop labbing. This is a character that also requires you to lab a lot. Now, of course, if you're fighting against Hwoarang, it's super important already. But of course, if you're also using Hwoarang, you have to lab a lot, because you want to know if the thing you did was safe, or if you can transition from this thing to that thing, no problem whatsoever. This is a weird Hwoarang guide. Not the way I kind of expected it to go, and probably not the way you expected it to go. But yes, that's been the cheese. There's 2 other cheese following this one, so again, feel free to subscribe for that. And I've been Frontier, and thank you for watching. Hwoarang frame traps, one of the most basic of them all is the Flamingo 1 into forward 1+2, because Flamingo 1 is +5, and of course with forward 1+2 being exactly 15 frames, and it's a mid counter hit launcher. So if I press in between after Flamingo 1, I'm going to get counter hit launch and the game will just apparently break. That's how good it is. That's how strong this cheese setup is.